And let's continue our study of understory trees found in the Appalachian Mountains in Ohio Valley, Lower Great Lakes area. This one's common, but not commonly found in all woods. I can go miles without seeing it. But in other areas, it's very common. And this is the eastern flowering dogwood. Not in flower in August, but even these leaves are quite handsome. I'm looking from underneath through towards a brighter sky, and you can see a fairly unique oval shape. They're about 3 inches long, with all the veins showing through, and more above it with the same pattern. So it's a very handsome tree. Usually it needs a little sunlight to get itself established. It's often found in woods that have some gaps in the canopy for the sunlight to get through. You won't find it in deep shade, but this is an area that's kind of got some larger trees and some smaller trees. So there's a little bit of a chance for this dogwood to grow. And here's its bark. This is a small tree. It's only maybe 1.5 inches in diameter, but it has little squares, about 1/4 inch in size, more like polygons. They're not really square, but different shapes, hexagons and pentagons, and fairly small. And that square, the bark is broken up into those polygons on even the larger trees. So it's pretty unique. It's about the same shade as a white oak as far as the grayness of it. Maybe just a tad darker than white oak trees, which are common. And boy, growing right next to it. They almost bloom at the same time, but you have to catch the dogwoods at the end of their blooming to get the red buds. The red buds bloom first and the dogwoods bloom second, and there's about a week or two where they're both blooming. So what we've got here are some heart-shaped leaves being backlit by the sun. There are other varieties of trees that have heart-shaped leaves that have serrated edges, and these have a smooth edge. I've even got one right here up close. A little bit of insect damage this time of year on these trees. Here's a seedling right here that's got that heart shape that's real obvious. So there's your heart-shaped leaf of the eastern redbud. 3 or 4 inches in size, sometimes a little larger. Beautiful purple to pinkish blooms in early to mid-April. Sometimes earlier if we get a warm spell in March. Similar habitat grows in areas that have received some sun. It's often found on hillsides that have been abandoned from farming operations, and will grow in great quantity on open hillsides with no trees to compete with. Same with the dogwood. So it's not always found in the forest, but it is found in the understory of the forest. When it is found in the forest, it won't grow as tall as these oak and maple trees that are growing in this park. This is Twin Creek Metro Park near Dayton, Ohio. And this has a little bit of a furrowed bark, but they're more like cracks than furrows. It's kind of a plummish, purplish color. Looks more brown right here, but when it gets wet, it usually has that purplish hue. It's pretty easy to tell from the other trees in the woods. The only tree it might even resemble in texture as it gets older is called the Kentucky coffee tree, which isn't that common. So that's what we have here. 2 understory trees that have the most beautiful flowers in the early to mid-spring. And the dogwood flower is a white flower, unmistakable, and most people are familiar with that.